Good afternoon. I'm Paris Hilton, and I'm so grateful to announce the introduction of the bipartisan Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act. This groundbreaking legislation is only possible because lawmakers on both sides of the aisle chose to listen to survivors. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the bill's sponsors, Congressman Khanna, Congressman Carter, Senator Merkley, and Senator Cornyn, and all the original co-sponsors for their unwavering commitment to protecting vulnerable youth from abuse, neglect, and preventable death in the troubled teen industry. This issue is deeply personal for me. From the ages of 16 to 18, I was sent to 4 troubled teen industry facilities. Each one was more horrific than the last. I witnessed and experienced sexual abuse from adult staff, as well as endured verbal and emotional abuse daily. I was yelled at, dehumanized, silenced, and stripped of any semblance of privacy. When I attempted to tell my parents about the abuse on the phone, the staff would immediately hang up the phone and punish me. On top of this, we had no access to the outside doors, no sunlight, no fresh air. These were considered privileges. What I went through will haunt me for the rest of my life. Can you imagine your teenage daughter being watched in the shower by male staff? What if you thought your kid was receiving treatment but was actually locked in a solitary confinement cell? What would you do if you found out that your child was being restrained by multiple staff members? How would you feel if you found out later that your child was being injected with sedatives that made them numb for days at a time? All of this was happening without them being able to tell you. As a new mom, I couldn't imagine being deceived like this, like so many parents, including my own, were. One of the many issues with these programs is that parents sign away all the rights and know nothing about what is going on. My family was lied to and manipulated just like so many other families. Every day in America, children in residential facilities are being physically, emotionally, and sexually abused by those responsible for their care. I'm never going to get my childhood back, but some of these children are losing their futures too. Children like Naomi Wood. 1 year ago, I stood here on the Capitol grounds, hand in hand with Naomi's grieving family. Naomi was robbed of her future at the age of 17 by Lakeland Girls Academy, a residential treatment program in Florida. For weeks, Naomi was in need of severe medical attention, but was ignored by staff. All she was given was soup and Pepto-Bismol, and because she didn't receive proper medical care, Naomi died a week later, alone in her room, thousands of miles away from her family. Naomi's family was never notified of their daughter's condition until it was too late. I wish I could say that Naomi's family was the last to grieve the loss of a child in a facility, but in the time since I last spoke to you all about the urgent need for legislation, at least 5 more children have lost their lives. How many more children need to die until you take action? I am determined to use my platform and resources to make a difference, and the Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act is where we need to start to address these abuses. I believe the greatest thing one could ever do is change history for others, and that is why I fought tirelessly for 2.5 years to ensure lawmakers understand the gravity of this issue on the state and federal level. Since I shared my story publicly in my documentary, This is Paris, we've supported the successful passage of 7 state laws. Other states have started to investigate the issue, and thousands of survivors have finally found their voices and no longer feel ashamed to say what happened to them. But as long as the abuse is still happening, and it is, our job is not done. That's why we need you, every member of Congress, and every state official to join forces to stop institutional child abuse. I am a proud businesswoman, I am a mom, I'm a survivor, and deep in my heart is a child who deserved to be protected. I will never forget the helplessness of sitting in solitary confinement, dreaming about someone saving me from that hell. 20 years later, I and hundreds of survivors gathered outside of Provo Canyon School in Utah. It was then I realized I was not the only one who needed saving. The facility boarded up the windows so the children inside couldn't see us. It was devastating knowing that they were on the other side. A few months later, I was contacted by a young survivor who had just gotten out of Provo Canyon School. Even though they couldn't see us fighting from them that day, she said that all the children knew that we were there and it gave them some hope. So today, with the introduction of the Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act, I want to send a message to all the children that are trapped in treatment. You are so much more than your trauma. Your stories matter, and together we can help end the silent abuse and neglect happening right now in every state. It is so important we all speak out for all of the survivors who have been too afraid to come forward. You are not alone. I'm speaking up for you, those who have suffered, and those who are no longer with us. We love you, and you are not forgotten. I'm speaking up because this industry profits by silence, and those who need the most help are taking advantage of instead. I'm speaking up to end the cycle of trauma and abuse that runs rampant in these facilities. To Majority Leader Schumer and Speaker McCarthy, I ask that you please prioritize the Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act and pass the bill this year. To our elected officials who have the ability to stop these deaths and to end this abuse, I encourage you to co-sponsor this bipartisan legislation. Nelson Mandela once said, "There is no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." The introduction of this bill sends a resounding message that child abuse has no place in our society. We cannot continue to play politics with children's lives. Thank you.